Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on November 29th, 2021 at approximately 9:46 a.m. PST. Well, things are actually starting to move in the right direction. At least, what the heck? That was noisy. I have no idea what that was. Something just fell down and I'll have to check it out later. But anyway, my apologies. This is a live recording, which means at the end of this, I simply double check, make sure I got the date right, and then post it as is. Now, I returned to this world for one reason, one primary reason anyway, and that is to pass on one simple message. Working together, we can make this a better world for just about everybody. Okay, now, when I talk about everybody, I'm referring to all entities. Humans, other races, animals, plants, elementals, you name it. Okay, if they exist, even if they only exist in what some people would refer to as the imagination. Because the imagination is, in my experience, it is the doorway to the higher senses. Okay, now I've been working as a guide. I've been working in the metaphysical field. Well, I was born into it. But as a professional guide, as in generating an income of some sort, I've been doing it for over 40 years now. Let's see, 1976. So yeah, 76, about almost 45 years now. Anyway, that's almost irrelevant. You'll find I do have a tendency of going backwards and bouncing around a little, but the purpose of this whole thing is this. We are at a point in our life, we always have been in all fairness, but it's becoming more and more obvious to more and more people that we have to start working together in order to change the path that life is on. Now, people have worried, first and foremost, before I get into what people have worried about, the natural disasters that are going on right now, that is indicative of what actual World War III is. The world is finally fed up with the way people are treating each other, and more importantly to the world, been treating the planet. The pollution, the disregard, the wastefulness, the absolute abuse of property. People talk about, we're running out of land. Well, the reality is that land you're talking about is only the surface of the planet. Okay. Now, the reality is, and scientists have proven, human scientists have already proven this. Okay, you can do your own research. Don't take my word for it. But negative energy has a negative impact on plant life. Okay, Earth itself is a plant. Actually, it's a real big plant with a whole lot of little plants attached to it. But it does breathe. It does have goals. I know that's hard to believe, but it's hard to believe that ants have goals, but they do too. Okay, everything in existence is exactly in the same place. We are all right here, right now. Now, the way this all works is this. In order to change the path that the world is in, okay, am I going to ask you to join me on this journey? Certainly. But here's the kicker to it. I'm not asking you to walk away from the belief structures you have. If you go to a church, if you go to a temple, a coven, if you just sit in the corner and stare at a flame, and that's how you find your balance, carry on. What I am asking is that you join me after you're done with your rituals, with your pathway, to join me in spreading this message that everybody's doing the same thing. We're all finding different ways to do it. But ultimately, we're all aiming for the same goal. The similarities are simple. We all are born, we all live our life, and we all die. I've heard of very few people that actually manage to get out of here without being dead. Now, there have been many people that have left Earth and died after leaving Earth. Okay, tragically, it does happen. But what we have to look at is you take a look in the mirror at yourself. That's where things start. Okay. Now, I've gone around in circles a number of times, and I do apologize for that, but, welcome to my world. The reality is you take a look at the mirror, take a look at yourself. Are you content with the way your life is? If you're not content with it, it is time to start making changes. Okay, now it's real easy to identify if you're not content. It can be problematic trying to figure out if doing something now, 10 years down the road, will result in you being content. Okay, now, therefore, take a look at yourself first of all. Take a look. Are you happy with your health? Are you happy with your energy levels, your emotional stability? Are you happy with your physical habits? Like, for instance, okay, as I'm sure if you've watched me at all, you realize drinking coffee I enjoy. It doesn't do anybody else any good at all. Like my drinking coffee won't help anybody. Although it's debatable, it may make me a little more tolerable of things. So far, it hasn't worked, so I'm not holding my breath. But whatever your path is, if you're content with it, this is good. If you're not, it's time to start changing it. Now, I can tell you, you may be looking in the mirror going, well, I've tried to lose weight for years and I can't get rid of it. Two complications there. One, and I've done a video before, a long time ago, subtitled language can't. If you're of the opinion you can't do something, I do suggest you go back and look up that video. Because it explains to you, I explained in that video, why the word can't is self-destructive, is self-limiting. That'd be the first one. Because my experience is simple. I have yet to see something that can't be done. There's a number of things that shouldn't be done. There's a number of things that certainly qualify as, I cannot do this yet. Okay, or I don't recall how to do this right now. But that doesn't mean it can't be done. I like the saying I saw one day. It went, those of you that say something can't be done should really step aside while those of us doing it are in the process of doing it. I remember going to a financial advisor one day. I was trying to get a handle on things. And he sat down and looked at my income, looked at my expenses, and goes, I really can't help you. He says, I'd love to be able to. He says, but by my training, he says, I'm not saying you can't live on it, but I would like you to sit down with me if you've got half an hour, if you think you can do it. Sit down with me and explain to me how you're living on what you've got. Because he says it doesn't make sense to me. At the time, I had more money going out than what I had coming in, but I was successfully keeping a roof over my head. Thankfully, I've managed to do that my entire life. It's been close on occasion, but I've managed to pull it off. Okay, so you take a look at yourself first. Then you take a look at the energy around in your home. Now, the center of a house is the finances, and that's where I really strongly recommend you focus first. You get wherever you're working on your finances, get that organized first. Okay, because you don't have to understand how the money itself really runs the background, but you do have to understand this. Okay, if you do not pay attention to where your money's going, you're going to run into problems. You likely already know this. And I don't know about you, but I'm really tired of relying on other people, other than the fact I have to work for a living. Okay, and in all fairness, even when I get to the point that I'm aiming for, which is getting my books to sell to the point that I personally am generating that kind of income, it still requires other people, because if other people don't buy the books, then I don't make money off them. But that's not the reason I'm writing the books in the first place. And that's the thing that people will have a difficult time in all likelihood understanding. But you get the energy, and the way to get the energy running smoothly in your office, wherever you're working on your finances, is take a look at the layout of your office and change the layout. Okay, clear the clutter out of the way. You don't have to take my word for it. Get the clutter out of the way and see how much easier it feels to work. Okay, see how much more comfortable you are, how much more focused you are once the clutter's gone. You may well be amazed. I know I was. Understand, I used to be a professional procrastinator. Now I just don't bother. No, that's not quite right. You know, from my standpoint, you get the energy moving there. Once you've got the backbone of the house dealt with, now deal with the home. And the backbone of any home, the next two rooms, there are 4 really important rooms to focus on. And understand when you do this, the odds are your house is going to, in certain areas, look a little bit worse than what it does now. But you get your office where you're working on your money, get that straightened out. Okay, that'll get the finances moving. Then you can track what you're doing with them, and that we'll get to later. Not today. Okay, get your bedroom, get the clutter out of your bedroom so that you can sleep comfortably at night. Your bathroom, well, quite frankly, it's one of the most used rooms in the house. It would be advisable to get it sorted around. And then, of course, the kitchen. Okay, now the whole house does have to be straightened out, and this goes for mine as well. In case you hadn't noticed, back here, it looks like I'm doing an airline thing. Back behind me, it does need straightening out. Okay, and that changes from day to day. But by focusing on your own life first, okay, now it was once said a long time ago, let he who has not sinned cast the first stone, meaning if somebody else's house is a bit of a cluttered mess, if yours is still cluttered, don't make any real major complaints about it. Certainly if you're asked, hey, somebody asks you a question, give them an answer. I am not the one to talk to about politically correct issues or how to say something in the most acceptable way. Okay, I'm just not. But if you've got questions as to how to start getting your life organized, absolutely, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Okay, if you'd like to ask a question of me in any field, it doesn't matter to me which field, I tangle with pretty much all of them, and I will give you as clear an answer as I can. But if you don't desire the rest of the world to know about it, okay, then send it to me in one of the contact points below this video, and I will do my best to get back to you. Okay, by doing that, by everybody doing the same thing with their own life, the side effect is that it straightens itself out. Okay, it will straighten out the rest of the world. Because the only 3 laws I actually follow, okay, are the 3 karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, with that in mind, if you now, like I said, I'm not saying drop what you're doing, because if you look at the guidelines that you're living under, I would be inclined to say you're going to find that all of the laws you follow, all the guidelines you're following, fit inside the 3 I follow. If you find one that doesn't, absolutely drop me a line and let me know what it is. I'm still questioning whether there is one. So far, I have not found one. Okay, and in regards to me to getting this world working properly, to get it working smoothly together. Okay, am I asking you for help? Certainly. To this end, in order to spread this message, absolutely. If you like the video, if you like if you like the message, absolutely give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Okay, because I'm still going to be doing this for, well, as near as I can figure, years to come. Okay, I started this on March 26th. March 26th. No, I started this on March 6th of this year, of 2021. Okay, now, do I manage to do it every day? No, I've had my issues. Okay, for all sorts of reasons, but that's okay. But do subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit the alert bell for when the next video comes out, because I'm doing my level best to get them out in the morning. Doesn't always work, in case you hadn't noticed. But that's why when things aren't working quite right, okay, get back on the saddle, get back at it. When you first learned to walk as a baby, when you first started to walk, you didn't just all of a sudden get up and start running in all likelihood. There are the occasional person that does. But most people have to figure out how to balance, have to figure out how to get things moving. Okay, this applies all the way through life. So I am reaching out to everybody. And do I desire up until recently, I really didn't want to have anything to do with the spotlight at all. But things change. At this point, it is very necessary that we realize there are people that we're going down a path that has been done multiple times and ends up invariably invariably so far at the same point. Okay, correction, not at the same point. Once, about 40,000 years ago, mankind managed to get itself to the point where it had no greed, no fear, no functional fear, no jealousy. There was strictly peace. There was true intercontinental global peace. And then we had an accident. Actually, it was an ill thought out plan, an ill thought out experiment, and very ill thought out. But the net result is the civilization collapsed. Okay, and it drove itself way back into way earlier in the Dark Ages. But that's beside the point. Okay, the real critical factor that we have to look at is that working together, we can make this a better world for just about everybody than what it currently is. Okay, but it's going to require everybody working together. Yes, I know that is a massively tall order, but I'm also a firm believer it's doable. Because in my opinion, 90 to 95% of people out there are decent people, striving to be good people. Okay. And it's that kind of message that we really have to focus on. Because if you see somebody in need, somebody that's having troubles, sometimes all it takes is giving them a smile and saying, hey, you'll work it out. Sometimes that's all it requires. Myself, I've got a slightly different road. Okay, a different way of doing it. But, as the saying goes, every little bit helps. Now, to that end, right now, I've got a number of things on the go. I'll be finishing this video off in the next almost 15 minutes, about 12 minutes at this point. I'll finish it off, get it posted. I've got a couple of short projects that'll take me about another hour, and then I go back to writing. Okay, I go back to doing the things that I've got to do in order to get my world running smoothly. Okay, like you, I'm in exactly the same boat. Okay, I am right here, right now, and this is the only time in your life that you will ever be able to get anything accomplished. Okay, we could go into the ins and outs of time travel, but I'm just not going to right now. Okay, but when I get done here, I've got a number of things already on my list, and like I said, the important factor from your standpoint, the tool that I personally use, is I keep a list of the things I'm working on doing in order to make sure I stay on top of them. Now, rest assured, it doesn't always work. Quite often what will happen in my case is I got all these things I want to get done. So I end up putting a list together and I get caught up with the list. Doesn't work well. I went so far one day as to go through the entire house, write it down. It took me like 3 or 4 pages to break everything down into shelves that needed to be cleared and what have you. That didn't work. What does work is taking just taking 3 things. Whatever from wherever you're sitting right now. Take a look around you and ask yourself this. Okay, we'll back that up half a second. Remember that thing about it being live? If you understand the concept, if you accept the concept that the state of your mind, that the state of the room you spend most of your time in, is a reflection of your mind, And thereby, the state of your mind is a reflection of the room you say that you're in. Okay, if you buy into that, then this will make total sense. It's easier to alter the physical world than it is to alter the way your mind is working. This is why I talk about getting things sorted out. This is why I talk about the feng shui, the energy flow in your house, in your body. Okay, by getting that sorted out, things will turn around. Okay, so from my standpoint, it's real simple. Take an idea, take whatever goal, pick 3, make sure that they stick, that you keep these goals at 15 minutes to half an hour each so you can get through them, so that as you get through the day, you can look at it and go, yeah, I got these things accomplished. Now, I've got a bad habit of getting like 8 or 10 down, and trust me, that's a bad habit. But it's one of those little flaws that I've got that I'm working on correcting. Okay, by doing that, as soon as you get done this video, get on to the first one you spotted. Now, don't forget, the things that you've got to get accomplished, you still have to remember, you've got to eat, you've got to get sleep at some point. But when you get one goal done, and that's why they're only 15 minutes to half an hour, get one checked off, and check it off, write a third one below. This will keep you mobile. It will keep you getting things done. And you may be amazed at how much you actually get accomplished in one day. Okay. Now, for me, once I get done this, once I get done this video, I've got a list of things to get on with. Not the least of which, where is it? This neat little book here. This one I finished, and this is The Birth of the Wolf Pack, a novel that took me a very long time to deal with, to get to print. It's already in print. Okay. And if you look at the list of books, there's a list of books below this video that'll tell you all the books I've actually got in print. That one, Birth of the Wolf Pack, is the only one that is available on Amazon right now. But the sequel is coming out in the spring. We're done the final edit. I've got a few things to stabilize on it as far as the final bits and pieces. But with that in mind, okay, the sequel is coming out. And that, for me, has been a major focal point. I'm about a quarter of the way written through the final book in that particular trilogy. Okay, so I'm aiming for the end of next year. So that's where my goals in the immediate are, aside from all the little ones. Okay, and you may be sitting yourself on a goal, on something you started and just dropped because somebody else came along and said that's not good enough. Well, it's probably a good thing I'm not an art critic, because I've seen some of the artwork that people are selling for thousands of dollars. The most amazing one I ever saw, right? And I forget how much it sold for, but it was many thousands of dollars. And realistically, what it was a canvas. The person had taken a white canvas, painted it white, okay, and they titled the canvas Whiteout. I believe that was what they called it. And that said, that canvas sold for multiple thousands of dollars. The fact somebody was willing to pay that for it tells you it doesn't matter what you're producing. Somebody is likely to desire it. Somebody may not be able to do it, to deal with it themselves. So, how you can't deal with something like that, let's not get into that. But everybody is unique in their own way. Everybody has their own story. It is not for me to tell you that you're going down the wrong path. But what I have spent my life doing is pointing out whether or not people are happy or themselves happy with their own path. Okay, a prime example of this, for instance, is I've talked to a lot of people that have said they're really happy with their weight, and yet they're always in pain because of being overweight. Now, I was not what you would call overweight necessarily. I was only about 30 pounds too heavy, but I'll tell you, I didn't like it. I told people I don't like, I don't like the look of being overweight, and I certainly didn't like the feel of it. So I did my work. I did my necessary effort to drop myself. I feel better for it. If you're having trouble with any goal that you're not content with in your world, doesn't matter. Drop me a line. I will do my best to give you guidance on it. The reason I call myself a spiritual guide is because of the fact that the tools I offer people are the same tools that I use myself when they apply to me. They're the same philosophies I live by. Okay. Now, I am encouraging you to reach out to the people around you. The easiest way to bring society back into a unified track is to start treating the people you deal with in the way that you desire to be treated. Okay, it is a simple matter of energy. You treat people the way you desire to be treated, they treat you that way, everybody starts feeling better without making somebody else feel worse. But the reality of it is, you're the only one that can be successful for you. You have to make the choice between war and peace. Okay, between stress and anxiety, between stress and relaxation. Between war and peace, between conflict and peace, you have to make the choice. Myself, I choose peace. I'm tired of being stressed out with people. And frankly, bottling my own stress is what caused my stroke a couple of years back. Actually, this is 21, so it'll be 3 years ago, the end of next month. I ended up causing myself a stroke by bottling my stress. So I'm tired of bottling the stress. So I'm just getting rid of the stuff that's stressing me out. Just a thought. Now, on that note, I got a whole pile of things I gotta get done. You got things you gotta get done. Okay, and I try and keep these to the half hour anyway. So I will be back again tomorrow. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.